Do you want to know how to build this awesome and rather ultimate ITX gaming PC? Well, this video should help you out. Let's take a look at starting off with the parts we're going to be using. The system is based on an 8700K. This is one of the highest end chips you can get in the ITX form factor. Obviously there are a couple of like X99 ITX boards, but then it gets a bit complicated and it may not fit in this case and all that sort of stuff. So for now we're going to stick with the nice simple basic of that chip. We're also using actually a stock Intel heatsink because of the size limitations of this case. We're using a Gigabyte, I think it's Z370N Wi-Fi board, which is actually pretty nice. Has a couple of M.2 slots, which we will be making use of, and 2 DDR4 RAM DIMMs. Speaking of DDR4, we're using the Crucial Ballistics Elite. This is actually some really hefty RAM. It's genuinely surprising how much weight they have to them, and therefore how much metal heat sinking they have, but nonetheless this is a 16GB kit of 3200 MHz RAM, obviously DDR4 to fit with our build, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. We're using a Samsung 960 Pro 1TB for basically our everything drive, which should be pretty awesome, and we're using a Zotac 1080 Ti Mini. This is an incredible card, actually runs pretty well, especially considering its just sheer size and form factor, and actually fits in this case pretty well. We're also using this Colink Rocket case and a Colink SFX 450W power supply to power the system. And with all the parts out of the way, let's get to building it. Now, I'm hoping that the vast majority of people who are watching this video have some understanding of how to install a CPU into a motherboard, especially an Intel one, as they're fairly commonly covered, but I will throw in some footage from some other Intel builds that I've done in the past just to give you a brief idea, but it's a fairly simple procedure. Lift up the arm, place the CPU in the socket as long as it's in the right orientation, place the bracket back down and pull the arm down. That's about it. Installing a stock Intel heatsink is also incredibly simple. Just align it in the right direction, put it on top and push the 4 pegs in. It should all already be locked in place, and then connect the 4-pin fan header, and that's pretty much it. Installing RAM is also a nice and simple procedure. Just flick the 2 tabs on either end open, and then make sure that the notch is aligned and slide it into the groove, click it in place, and that's pretty much it. Do the same for both RAM DIMMs, and there you go. I'm going to be installing the 960 Pro on the rear M.2 slot. There is a front M.2 slot that does have a heat shield on top, which you can use, and I do recommend that, but for ease of showing you how it works and that sort of stuff, and not cluttering up the front of the board, we're going to be using the back one. So again, this is just all you do is remove the small screw, place the M.2 drive in a slight angle, hold it down and attach the screw. I have incredibly shaky hands, so it took me a fair few number of attempts to actually get the screw in place, but once you do, that's it secured, and that's all you need to do. Now with this case, it is a little bit complicated to build in, or at least more complicated than your average build. So the first thing you do is remove both side panels with 4 screws each. You'll then remove the power supply bracket and attach the power supply to it. Once you've done that, do make sure that the power cable is routed through the very small slot that the cable has for it to come through, and then connect it to the back of the power supply. I'm going to personally be leaving the power supply out of the system so that I can install the rest of the bits first, but obviously do make sure that, as said, you do end up reinstalling the power supply after you've got everything in. Once you've got the power supply installed on the bracket, I then recommend putting the case on its side and installing the rear I/O shield for your motherboard. Make sure it's in the right orientation. You can work this out by just looking at the way the board will go in, and otherwise then install the motherboard. In this case, the standoffs were pre-installed, so all you need to do is get 4 screws for an ITX motherboard, place it in and make sure that it's lined up with your rear I/O shield, and then put the 4 screws in, and there you go. You're then going to install the power supply back in the system. This is again a little bit tricky, and if you have someone to help you build with this system, I do recommend it, but either way, you then, once the power supply is installed, connect up your 8-pin and 24-pin power connectors to your motherboard. I would also recommend connecting up stuff like the USB 3 front panel header and your power and sort of power LED connections before you then go and attach the PCIe riser to the PCIe X16 slots in the right orientation, the top of the board. You'll then look to install your graphics card, which is pretty simple. It's just a couple of screws on the back to remove the plates that are already in there, and then I would definitely recommend that, especially with this chassis, you install your power supply connections to the graphics card first, and then install the graphics card afterwards. There is technically a space for you to do this from the top, but you'd have to remove the sort of L bracket that's on the front, and you can't do that with a power supply or a graphics card installed, which kind of makes it a bit of a pain. But if you install them before you install the graphics card, all you have to do is then place the graphics card in, slot it down, and screw in the 2 screws in the back to hold it in place. And with that all out of the way, a couple of minutes of sort of cable management, or more like cable stuffing in this case, then you have a functional system. You'll then want to install Windows on it, and for me I ran a few suite of benchmarks, so let's take a look at those numbers. As you'd expect with an impressive build like this, with 3 Mark Firestrike scores of over 20,000 1080p, over 11,000 4040p, and over 6,000 in 4K, you're gonna have a pretty good time with this. In Dirt Rally and Ultra settings, you're looking at a very impressive 85 FPS at 4K, 139 at 1440p, and 165 at 1080p, with pretty similar results in GTA 5 on very high settings as well, with actually 103 FPS at 4K, 117 at 1440p, and 161 at 1080p. In Unigine Heaven, you're looking at, again, really impressive results. Obviously, the 4K result here, as always, is a little bit underwhelming just because of how Unigine Heaven test works, but some really impressive numbers here overall. So as expected, this is an incredible system. You're obviously looking at a 1080 Ti and an 8700K, which is currently one of the best configurations for gaming right now. There is some limitations with especially the CPU and the ventilation of the CPU with that relatively small heatsink, and also the PCIe riser going over it, restricting its airflow a fair bit. So just bear that in mind if you are planning on buying this specific case or this specific build, that the airflow, especially for the CPU, isn't all that great, and just keep that in mind. Of course, there are a number of ways that you can upgrade this system in the future, whether that's just graphics card upgrades, or if you want to, say, add a couple of hard drives to the sled on the bottom, you can do that to expand your storage. With this specific motherboard, you can also add a second M.2 SSD, so that's also pretty awesome to see. And yeah, otherwise there's still a fair few upgrade options. The temperatures weren't too bad on the system. Obviously the CPU suffering a little bit more than the GPU, as the GPU has a full side and full ventilation, which is nice, but otherwise it wasn't too bad. It didn't throttle too hard, so that's always nice to see. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the system in the comments down below. Is this a bit too overkill in a time where graphics cards and RAM prices are extraordinarily high, or are you still interested in seeing how much power you can fit in a ridiculously tiny box? I know I am. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you have any questions about the system, or if you're planning on building this sort of system or anything else and you just want to ask any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments down below too. I'll leave links to the parts that I use in the description down below for you to check out, and if you're interested in supporting the channel and keep me making these videos on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday basis, then feel free to take a look at the Patreon link where you can support me directly, or Amazon and OverclockersUK affiliate links, which massively help me out if you use them when you're buying from those places. Otherwise, there is other videos over here for you. There's a few other ITX or even just general build guides that you can check out, or some general videos too. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button too. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all in the next video.